All right. Welcome everyone back to your favorite podcast, The World From Home, where we sit, talk, and elaborate on topics and subjects that are interesting. Some are boring, but there are subjects that are happening, events that are happening all over the world, but we are doing it from the comfort of our own homes. I would introduce everyone, but I'm sure you already know the panel by now. So if everyone could just give a quick wave to the people. For sure. The crowd is going wild. It's going wild right now. It's a sound effect. They're going crazy. All right. I will start with the updates. Our updates that we give you guys tips every week. I wanted to start from a way for you to make money from the comfort of your own home. My tip for you today is if you are interested in building a t-shirt brand, specifically t-shirt in upper body wear where you can put designs on it. You have a free trial of 14 days with Shopify. Sign up for Shopify free 14 days and go to the Shopify products that they have available. One of the options is an opportunity for you to just load your designs into that system. And that system then, once someone shops and buys from you, that system creates the t-shirt and Shopify service delivers that t-shirt. And you're just charged that fee. But you're doing all this from the comfort of your own home. You're not spending any money. You're not buying any you're not buying any equipment or t-shirts or worry about. So this is a service that will print the t-shirts for you and also ship the designed t-shirts out for you. So that's something that you can do from the comfort of your own home. After the 14 days, there is a fee there. Look it up. But if you are someone who believes in your product, there's not much to be there and have that service provide that for you. And that's me.
And do they provide services everywhere? Like, are there certain countries that they don't have access?
Yes, just about everywhere.
Provide services.
Yeah.
Cool. Noted. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all a few travel tips. So these are more domestic travel tips for anyone who lives in the center of Israel and enjoys to move around on the weekends and also wants to save money while doing so. Okay, so they have a new line called, it's not new, but it's just started since March 29th. All right, so it's called Naim Basofash. It's basically a shuttle that runs solely on weekends. It's completely free. There are 7 lines that move through 5 major cities: Givatayim, Ramat Gan, Ramat HaSharon, Shoham, and Tel Aviv Yafo. All right, so the lines are 705, 706, 707, 708, 709, 710, and 711. All right, so I wanted to give you all a few more notes on how you can access these lines. You can use the Move It app. They usually show you exactly what times you have a free bus. And also the stops that you can go to, they actually have a map on the app to show you how to get to the certain stops. Activity hours are from Yom Shishi or Friday from 6 p.m. until 2 a.m. So everybody likes to turn up and party. You can get to the clubs for free as well. And also they don't require a vaccination for you to ride the bus. Only you have to wear a mask, and that's it. So that's it for our weekly travel tips. I hope I was helpful for anyone who wants to save money and move around Tel Aviv on a weekend.
Don't come to my area. Y'all go to the other side, though.
No, it comes right here, right past your house. It's a bus directly in front of your house.
All right, boom.
Anytime you see that, no, it's time to cut it out or edit it.
Make me laugh every single time. This is so nice. The combination. Yeah. So while we have time,
I feel like a drink.
Yeah, it's like the combination of whiskey with Sprite. It just lightens the whole drink because cola is so heavy and full of sugar.
Yeah.
but the soda is nice or whatever. Sprite.
All right. How are we? Are we better? Are we bleeding into each other?
No, we lit.
All right, cool. All right. Not music tips. Well, just a couple of new songs to put you guys onto. Being that it's spring, leading into summer, it's beach weather, it's nice, more easy vibes. First one is Energy by Skepta and Wizkid. Afro beat, real nice. 2 African artists. Support yours. Beach vibe, shirt off with the rolls or with the stomach muscles. Very, very nice. Second one is by African American artist by the name of Biscuit. He got this weird thing like Derek Jackson where it's an X in his name, Bixst, but featuring one of my favorite R&B artists, Ty Dolla $ign, and the guy that can't stop winning since he left Kylie Jenner, Tyga. It's called Chosen. I'm just saying. Since he left, he been putting out hits.
He got his hairline back.
Soon as some hairline hits came back, so
Yeah,
Tyga's on here popping out another hit. It's called Chosen. Really, really nice, light song, not too deep, not too nothing. You know, check them both out. Let me know if you like the vibes.
For sure.
Okay. I'm gonna go into the exciting part of it. I love talking about people's business. Anyway, first is DMX's funeral. Did anyone see, like, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw like a clip on Insta about Swiss Beats and his speech. And basically, he called out people. He's talking about what did he say? He was basically saying like, oh, some people are trying to act like some people are trying to, basically people being fake right now that he passed, like people that he weren't even cool with or weren't looking out for him, trying to like memorialize him and like, you know, have nothing but good things to say about him, but they weren't looking out for him and he was real. And then he talked about the importance of making sure you have a will and your state and everything to settle. But yeah, he was just on the stage. They were like, Swiss speech woke up and chose violence today because I'm pretty sure he was talking about some of the people that were on the stage with him. How they didn't really look out for DMX. But I was actually impressed with that. I didn't know Swiss speech was gonna come that hard.
He a rough rider, girl. You know, originally they had
right?
a whole gang.
Yeah, you don't play around with that. Not with DMX.
Right.
Yeah, that's his boy too.
Yeah, he was not playing. The other thing is, everybody thought Derek Chauvin got convicted. I expect him to get convicted though. They didn't want to marry him.
And it's finally they get one. They didn't let a million of them go back to back to back.
Like Amanda Steele said, like this isn't like we're saying it's a victory, but it's a Pyrrhic victory. Like it's come at too great a cost. And everyone's saying it's justice, but that's not really justice. It's what it should have never happened. He shouldn't have to lose his life.
Exactly.
And that shouldn't be celebrated. Like you kill somebody on camera. Like going to jail should be the obvious outcome.
Exactly. And what Emo said, he murdered somebody on camera.
And like those lives are never able to be returned. Like we can be happy, I guess, as a community that these people are being convicted, but these are souls that are lost regardless, you know. So they were saying that something has to be done as far as legislation and rules, rather than, okay, we convicted one person out of 100 that killed Black people this year, and now let's celebrate.
Big facts.
That's 100% true.
So let's get it. What we saying? We talking about the Oscars? Okay.
So Oscars was last night. Did anybody watch it? I know I didn't. I didn't
have the chance
last time I watched Oscars.
Every time I watch the Oscars and the Grammy, they claim how people get robbed and treated unfairly, so I decided to stop supporting.
Yeah, it's not a good show.
I mean, I usually just see who won or who was nominated. I don't
really
watch
they didn't
the whole
invite.
entire show.
They didn't invite my boy Ricky Gervais again. He said he didn't get an invite to the Oscars because I think that speech he made.
Is he good enough to get an Oscar? Is he deserving?
No, he just invited. You know, like Ricky Gervais would be somebody that you'd invite to the Oscars.
Yeah, he is.
Invite. They canceled him after his.
What movie he playing, Ricky?
One.
The name is semi-familiar.
So he's a British comedian and like writer.
He playing a lot of.
He plays in a lot of like silly
comedy.
Like, what was it? Ghost Town and like I don't know if any of y'all watched The Office.
These don't sound like Oscar-winning movies to me, but
The Orphan.
They aren't, but he's very talented. Like The Office. Does anybody watch The Office? No.
I think I watched The Office. Oh, he mad because he didn't get invited to the Oscar. He gotta relax.
No, let me explain. Can you let me explain to? Then you're gonna be on his side. Okay, the last speech he did when he was because because he's very popular, especially in Hollywood. The last speech he did, I think, was for the Golden Globe. He basically called out Hollywood for being racist, and he like specifically named certain celebrities and like some of the stuff that they do, like that we all know is crazy and deep. He even called out my boy Leo, and I love Leo, about how Leo and all he dates is young girls.
Leonardo DiCaprio, you know?
Yeah, but he
is snitch and he's not talented?
He is talented, but he specifically called out racism in the Oscars and stuff. So they didn't invite it was like people didn't even know whether to laugh or clap, but it was all over social media because it was so funny, like the celebrities' faces. I don't know, actually,
because like wasn't him and Jada like doing the whole?
Him and Jada, they boycotted the Oscars one year. I think it was a few years ago because.
I wonder if they invited them though after.
But I was telling my friend at work today, like how I don't even watch Oscars anymore because the only time they want to give awards to Black people, or even people of color, is when it's about our pain. It's like, you know, they're monetizing our pain and trauma, and we have to watch it over and over again. The only time we ever get a shout out on the Oscars is a slave movie. Like, you know, it's never about Black joy or just, you know.
That's also how I watch them. They don't ever want to support us for the right shit. They had
or getting naked.
Denzel was what
Halle
nominated
Berry,
for Oscars 1,000 years in a row, and they finally gave him one for Training Day where he played a fucking crooked cop. Like they only perpetuate shitty stereotypes.
That's how it goes.
Cannot support this. I'm not supporting.
That's how it goes.
Like,
that's how it goes, people.
Daniel Kaluuya won, which
was amazing.
He's a great actor. But can I just say one thing? I watched this in The Black Messiah. Daniel Kaluuya. He's a British actor.
He was a Black
He's the one
Messiah.
that played Fred Hampton.
Oh, he played
Fred Hampton.
What is the movie with the Black girl and the Black dude?
Get Out.
The white girl. Get Out. Yeah.
Oh, Get Out. Okay.
So yeah, he's been in some good movies, and he was the one in, I don't know if you've watched Queen and Slam, and yeah, he was also in Black Panther. He was one of like the side actors. But what do they call it?
He starred in Black Mirror in one of the episodes.
No, he had a nice role in Black Panther. He was a prince, no? He was a trader.
No, he was he had his own community or whatever. But he was like a supporting role.
Yeah.
He was a supporting role. So anyway,
only for Get Out, he should have got one. He killed that movie.
Yeah, Get Out was like
sink into the floor. When I first watched it, when she said that, I thought she was sinking me into the floor. I'm like, you fucking calling ass. I started looking around like, no, let the Black man go.
That was an intense movie.
He got one for that. He acted his butt off for that. He deserved it.
He definitely did, but he didn't get an
award for that.
He didn't get one? Well, he got it. Well, he went Oscar
for that new movie
Fred
on
Hampton.
Netflix.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Okay,
I ain't watched that yet.
Black people.
They're
trying to big up the Black people.
Can I just say, so no one's watched it yet?
I haven't watched it. I will check it out.
Only the trailer.
I had trouble understanding him. It was like, you know, when someone's speaking to you underwater, that's what I most felt like my ears were underwater. I had real trouble making.
What, the accent or the volume of whatever it is terrible?
It was his accent.
Is he not British?
What's crazy?
He's British.
He's British, but he had.
Ain't y'all over there on that side?
American.
Oh, you in it?
He wasn't.
No, but he was playing the American.
They play Americans, bro.
He playing the American.
Okay.
And his Southern accent, he made it so funny, and it didn't really sound Southern to me, but maybe, I don't know. Don't ask me nothing, but yeah, it was weird.
It has to be weird to get a British person to play a Southerner like that.
That's all they do.
Regular African Americans
are awesome at making Southern accents, doing Southern accents in terms of like American accents. They could do Southern.
That's interesting. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna check it out though, just to see, you know, what the vibe is. I really wasn't even intrigued to watch it. Honestly, I saw the preview and I was like, okay.
And a Black woman finally won an Oscar for hair and makeup. When I just watched Shiona Turini. We literally invented makeup. I don't know.
They been heavy.
For hair and makeup.
Nice.
Not the Koreans, though.
I mean, we just want to be whatever we can.
Boy, the Koreans is the hair gods. Even in Israel, you go to the bus station, only Asians.
Oh, they got that. They going hard.
I mean, they know how to hustle.
Oh yeah, they know how to hustle for the cash. All right, does everyone feel like we got a few updates in? Everyone feel like they got all the updates off their chest? I know everybody wanted to go on for a few more minutes on their updates. Everybody feel like they said enough? Y'all comfortable?
No, I don't want to give y'all all the music at once, so 2 songs at a time so y'all can appreciate them. So I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to bring more tips that are relevant to money saving because Tel Aviv is already so expensive as it is. And I know a lot of people like to go out. Even just a cab to the beach sometimes can run you like 100 shekels, depending on when
Yeah,
you're
don't
there.
come.
So
Another reason
riding,
not to come here, y'all.
Yeah, stay
You
at
live
your
here?
house.
City. It's super crowded.
Anywho, anyway, so it's a free way to get around during the weekends, which is awesome.
For sure. All right, everyone. Thank you guys for listening to the updates. We appreciate that. We hope we helped in some way. Right now, we want to move to our second part of our show, where we will be discussing some of the things that are happening within our community down in Dimona, Israel, where some of the members of the community are receiving letters saying that they have 60 days before they need to pack their things and leave, or they will be deported. We will have on our show today Ashriel. We'll be bringing on Ashriel in just a minute to kind of enlighten everyone on what exactly is going on, so that we all have a better understanding. We are back. I don't know if everyone wants to mute their mics, because I want Ashriel to kind of get a lot, as much as he
I'm
can.
gonna share myself up if you need.
Before we start.
You gonna answer the questions? Oh,
we can't. He said we don't have that much time, so I want him to just get the information out and then we talk about the information. So, Ash, welcome to the podcast. We all want to welcome you to the world from home. And this is a subject that's dear to all of us, and you are the man on the ground. So we would love to hear from your perspective of what's going on with the situation.
All right, I'll give a bit of background just so we can have. First of all, I'm happy to be here on the World from Home, and thanks for inviting me. I want to give a bit of history though, just so we can have a better perspective on what's happening, because there are a lot of inconsistencies, but a lot of information that we hear online, and I want to make sure that the fake news won't really have a space here. Look, in 2014, we started a new process of trying to settle all the cases for those people who have no status in Israel at all. When I say no status in Israel, I'm talking about those people who were born in Israel, who were raised in Israel, and are not eligible to be able to get citizenship from their mother countries because they're second or third generation in Israel. I'm talking about those people who have been in Israel for over 30, 40, 50 years, and that's the only country that they know. But even though that's been the case, they still haven't had a total settlement of the cases. And so they've been illegally in Israel, but in a legal way, if you understand what I mean. And so we, 2014, the then Minister of Interior, Gidon Saar, he started a new process with us, and he said, okay, what we'll do then, because, this is long overdue. Too many years, we've been here as a community, and the majority of what we do, everything almost what we do is we do it as a community. So when we induct into the army, we do it as a community. It's not an individual decision. When we go and represent Israel on different platforms, speaking on behalf of Israel, we're doing it as a community. So we always, give homage to the Hebrew Israelite community wherever we go. And you can't ever get away from that. I don't care where you are in the world. You still remain with that connection to the community. And so they said, okay, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and settle all of the cases once and for all, put this behind us, allow these people to live their lives, finally, after so much time, and let's forget about it. Because how many people are we talking about? A maximum, probably 300 people, 400 people. Israel every year has aliyah of almost 30, 40, 50,000 people, and they're able to find a way to receive, these people from all over the world. So it shouldn't be a big issue for them to be able to receive 300 people, especially not 300 people who were raised, born in Israel and matriculated through the systems. But Gidon Saar, he wasn't in place for long enough, unfortunately. He was only in the Ministry of Interior for a year and a half, and he didn't manage to get everything done in that year and a half. And then the new old minister, Aryeh Deri, came back to his spot, and the issues started. Because what he wanted to do, he wanted to simply halt everything that Gidon Saar has started. because, you know, ministers come in, they have their new policies, they want to enforce their own policies. They don't really want to carry on a lot of the other policies that, you know, were from their predecessors, because everybody want a little, you know, a little shine to be able to say, I was the first to do this. And I'm not carrying nothing over from some guy that was before me. You know, let me do something new. I want a new reform. And so he counseled everything, and we found ourselves in a position where for 6 years, there was no handling of these cases, and people just continued to suffer. So it was just an initiative that the Spirit led me to pick up. And I'm like, okay, well, let me see what it is that I could be able to do, you know, because I study political science and government, and that's an area that I'd like to be in. I've always, you know, strived to be in that area to properly, you know, represent us on the highest level. And then to get us the proper recognition that we need in Israel, especially after so much time. And we talking about everybody who's in this situation. These are people who I know personally.
Right.
So I don't have, you know, I don't care about dedicating my time and my energies to be able to go and assist them. It's not taking nothing away from me. You know what I mean? It's a full-time job almost. But at the end of the day, I think if we manage to get the job done, that's more important after people have been just suffering for so long over here. So I picked it up in 2020 in August. And so I started sending out messages to different ministries to see who would be willing to actually assist. And then, you know, to the population department and immigration. And so they picked it up. You know, they got back with me like, you know, we're willing to assist. We're willing to assist. There's a new, well, not a new minister like that, but there was a new head of the office of the population control department. There was a new general manager for the immigration department. You know, they kind of changed a bit of the personnel in there. And, you know, new faces, new energies. We are coming with a desire to change things after years and years where it's been totally neglected. So we thought we can find a friend. And we started the process with them. And the whole thing was like, look, we're going to do this. We're going to get this out of the way. But this will be the last time. We're not doing this no more. Don't even come back and ask for us to do it anymore. So all we need from y'all is just to make sure that we have all of the names once and for all. We have this amount of names, approximately 64, 65, right? But if there's anybody else, let us know right now, because we're not doing it again. We've already done this a few times in the past. So what we did is that we just brought, you know, the remaining people who may not be even considered part of the community, but they came here, you know, on the merits of joining the community in the early 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatnot. And whatever happened along their path, that's not even, you know, relevant. It's not even important. They're here in Israel. They came under, you know, the 1966 vision of His Excellency Ben Ami, and we're like, let's roll with it. So we give them a whole list of everybody. We own them for a few months about it. We talking, everything is sounding good. They're giving us, you know, positive feedback. Yeah, it should be good. We should be able to go ahead on and settle this. This is the last time. Let's sign. We even offered to sign on documents that will say that we won't come back up here. And if anybody else would like to settle their situations afterwards, then they'll just have to go through the regular channels. Right. You know, they just have to go through the normal channels, because we're coming, you know, putting our name on the line there to be able to go ahead on and settle something, because those who were dealing with it before, unfortunately, they're no longer here. Right. You know, so it's either we are going to do it or we're not going to do it. They said that we will do. But we fast forward to a few months later, and instead of people receiving citizenship or some legal status in Israel, they receive a deportation note. Wow. So the question was that, hold on, this is not what we discussed it. We discussed the fact that we're going to settle all these cases once and for all. That was the agreement that we had with y'all. Yeah, but the agreement was that we wanted to settle everything. But unfortunately, and this is the tricky part, we looked at every case by case. And unfortunately, nobody fits any criteria to be provided any legal status in Israel. No criteria at all, none that they checked. And there's no precedence for anything like that. And so unfortunately, we won't provide you with citizenship. What we'll do is we'll give you, we'll serve you a note of deportation. You have 60 days to be out of the country.
Wow.
And so, you know, evidently my first thought is that this was a trick. You know, what they wanted to do is just make sure that they had all of the information just to ensure that they have everybody so that they could be able to serve those deportation notes and they won't have any other situations with later on. That was my thought, you know, and unfortunately, that's what actually happened. So I decided that, again, the Holy Spirit just led me. I didn't know it was going to catch fire like it's catching fire, but I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just break it out, you know, because I'm considered in Israel kind of you know, a noted figure because I participated in Israeli TV show that was quite successful, and we were, you know, pretty much, you know, we were standing out on the show. And so I decided to break it out. We broke it out, and within a matter, it couldn't have been more than a few hours, right? Probably like an hour, 2 hours, where it hit the ground running in a way that nobody expected.
Right.
I'm telling you, it got to every spot, every corner, everybody sharing it, all the news outlets, the media, online, everybody started picking up the story and like, this is good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is a good story. And from there, you know, it's just like, okay, everybody's really interested in what is going on now and what's the next step. So is it true that in 60 days from now or 50 something days now, these people will no longer be in Israel? Is that what we said? Is that the case? And if that is what we said, then how could that be? Because they are part of the community that contributes. And this is the good thing about it. I think this is one of the best parts about it because the Israeli society is familiar with us.
Right.
So they know all that we've contributed to the society. They know everything that we do, you know, from our own free will. Like in 1973, when we moved around, you know, we had some singing groups. In 1973, when we moved around, Soul Messengers and a whole bunch of others. While we were getting deported in 1973, on the other hand, we were moving around and lifting up the morale of the soldiers in Israel because Yom Kippur War was the most devastating war that Israel has ever experienced. And so instead of us sitting around and moping and crying and complaining about the fact that they don't want us, they don't this, we like, how can we help? You know what I mean? What can we do in order to lift up the morale? Right. Nobody considered the fact that we've been ambassadors of goodwill for Israel, bringing people like Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown and Mama Mandela and Stevie Wonder and all these people, you know what I'm saying? Megan Good. These people are coming to Israel to visit Dimona. What is in Dimona for them to come and visit? Honestly, if you were to take us out of Dimona, right, and just kind of, you know, just annihilate the whole Kifar area, what would somebody need to come to Dimona for?
Right.
Why would Whitney Houston want to come all the way to Israel to come to Dimona to see what? Exactly. You know what I mean? So it had to be something that we were kind of given to Israel. We represented Israel in a lot of, you know, international committees, international organizations, international conferences. Durban 1, Durban 2, you know what I'm saying? Trying to create a better relationship between Israel and Africa because of our connections down in Africa for years. You know, we had people who represented us in the Eurovision twice. Represent Israel, 1999 with the Happy Birthday song, which is the most popular birthday song in Israel. And then you have, you know, 2006, the song Together We Are One. I mean, what have we not done in Israel? So the Israeli society is pretty much familiar with us. So they were just like, look, they went on their own campaign, like, we're not gonna let this happen. And as a result of them saying that they're not gonna let it happen, then the media outlets started pulling it up. So everybody want to interview and everybody want to talk and everybody want to understand the case. I've personally had within 2 days, approximately like 17 interviews, TV, radio, news, papers, and then, you know, just the online outlets, just explaining the situation. And you have politicians now who are now joining. You have significant celebrity figures in Israel that are joining. You have celebrity figures internationally that are joining, like Brandon T. Jackson, who submitted some, a little something about it on his Instagram page. Right. You have a lot of clergymen internationally. A lot of people is kind of really joining this fight and understanding the injustice that has been done. So the fight now is really to halt the deportation, right? And then once we are able to halt the deportation, then we have to find a way to be able to overturn the decision, so that these people could actually be able to get some kind of legal status in Israel, like it was promised, as opposed to kind of being duped. Into believing that there's a possibility.
To cut you off for 1 second. Outside of spreading awareness online, what actually practically can be done to halt the deportation process for the people that it is relevant to? What do we need to do? What do they need to do?
First of all, the legal process is super important, right? Because we could submit, kind of a legal procedure to the court so they can be able to put it on an immediate freeze. But in order to be able to do that, we need that moolah. So one of the
is it like cost per person or cost for the entire case, like a specific person?
Well, if we have enough people who are actually willing to be represented in a class action suit case, then I guess the price would be cost per case in general. But if it's only individuals who are willing to go through with this entire process, then obviously the price would be higher. So we're hoping that we could be able to just do a class action suit with everybody, and get a good price, and then that'll make it easier for everybody. So one of the things that we're about to do is to launch a campaign for crowdfunding for all of the people who've been, showing verbal support online. What is it we can do? We're here to help. We want to assist or whatever. So we want to see how much are they willing to actually assist. And then after that, we'll kind of pursue the legal procedure. At the same time, we try to pursue the political procedure. Hopefully, some politicians could find it good in their heart to be able to put some pressure on the minister. And then we have a few other things that we kind of working on, under the radar. We don't want to really talk about strategy online like that, but we looking into a bunch of avenues, because it has to stop. I mean, we either have 60 days to stop it, right, or we have 60 days and they're out of here. Right. And so either we're gonna give it all that we have and come with May, or we could be a little, just pessimistic about it and say there's nothing we can do about it. And you're absolutely correct. They'll find themselves out the country in a minute. So that's what we are.
You're saying it's not created yet. The fund me link is not created yet.
It's created. We just haven't launched it yet. We wanted to change some things in there first.
Okay. Whenever it's ready, we'll have that link below for everyone who watches the podcast to go ahead and support the idea that we have in trying to get our people to be able to stay in the land like they truly deserve. Ashriel, do you have anything else, or do anyone else want to ask any quick questions? Because I know, like he said, he's been on interviews, and we appreciate that. We've been seeing you. We've been sharing it and posting it ourselves. Just happy to see you out there fighting for the people. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I can take one more question, and then I see you see me keep putting my hands up here.
I see you.
Yeah.
Batia, give us a question. What kind of question you want to ask Ashriel, so we get a little bit more information before we have this open discussion?
First of all, thanks, Ashriel, for representing our community. I can't imagine the amount of stress and time it's taken you. Yeah, it's disappointing news, but at the same time, I think this has been an issue going on for a while now within our community in Israel. And it's disappointing that they don't recognize the input and everything that we do and the work that our community does and brings into that country. The question I want to ask, so you talked about lawyers, and most importantly, that was that was what I wanted to ask about in terms of like finances and how we were going to be able to support and make sure that these people get proper representation. Has anyone in Israel, or is there anyone looking into it in terms of like any lawyers who specialize in this type of humanitarian legal stuff? Sorry, I'm not really good with my legal burden, but are there any lawyers who specialize in this that have approached us yet about help wanting to represent in terms of like a pro bono case, or just wanting to help support or give advice?
See, that's the thing. We have a lot of people who are submitting, showing interest in supporting and helping. But because this is kind of like a wildfire and it's out there, that most people just kind of want to ride on the success of this, on the campaign, and that'll give them a little more notoriety themselves. So we are in touch with a few lawyers trying to understand, what can they actually give? But everybody is saying like we are the best. Obviously, we've done thus and thus and thus up until now. We've won thus amount of cases, and we're kind of trying to understand. Okay, what's the bottom line? How much? Because I know you want some money. So talk to me. Nobody really have showed interest for pro bono just yet. Yeah. But there are a few humanitarian organizations that we are going to go to and ask them would they have anybody who is willing to take the cases pro bono. If they are, then we'll consider that as a viable option. If they aren't, then we're still going on the fundraising campaign, so we'll be able to have the money to handle.
Great question. Great answer as well. Ashriel, we appreciate you being on, my guy. We appreciate the fight, and we are right with you. The world from home. I know we at home, but we still fighting. We still ready. We still armed. Appreciate you being on. Thanks you for sharing some of your time with us, and hopefully you can come back on the show when we resolve this or in the process of resolving, and just give us a few more updates.
All you gotta do is just invite me. I'm coming back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My guy, make sure you have your glass.
Thank you so much for coming.
For real.
Yeah. I like this. This is cool. All right, y'all. I gotta run.
All right, we appreciate you.
See you.
All right, can I go back into the 4? Yeah, we in the 4. It's the 4. It's the 4. All right. We heard the information. We heard Ashriel explain to us exactly some of the things that are going on with the deportation notices that have been sent out to around 60 people now and counting, that they have 60 days to leave the country. What do we feel about that as a panel? I mean, these are people that some are known, some are unknown to you, but they're part of the community. What do you feel about that?
Racism still alive. They be concealing this.
And they said Israel not racist last week on a podcast.
No, that wasn't so we didn't say that Israel wasn't racist. That wasn't the argument.
They said it wasn't as
I prefer to live in Israel over America.
Events that are happening now within the community of people actually being sent the deportation notices.
As I was saying, it has to be race inspired. We just had a pandemic. Nobody has done anything extreme to justify this, to even have people look into deporting a community that's been here since 1967. It's kind of crazy and random. Again, because it just happened literally. We don't have as many details that we would like, but it's probably, like Ash explained, somebody is in office that doesn't like us, and this is their way of showing it. So it's unfortunate, but we're not going to let these heroes win.
Right. Tamia, what do you feel about when you heard it first? I mean, what did you think?
So the first time I heard about it, it was actually on Ashriel's Instagram. He posted a post, and then it had the sign saying that, like, I'm about to be deported or supposed to be deported from Israel, whatever, in Hebrew. So when I saw it, I kind of like, it kind of took me off guard because I wasn't expecting it. Like you was saying, like, there were no riots, there was no conversation before, there was nothing that would like warrant this type of thing. So I kind of didn't know if it was real or not. Then after finding out that it actually was real and they decided they wanted to deport people from the community, actually it pissed me off. The first thing that I felt is I was pissed off. Like, honestly, I was annoyed. Like, I just advocated for Israel just a week ago on our podcast, and how it's, even though it does have racist tendencies, it's not as bad as the U.S. You have, Black communities here that are able to live and prosper or whatever. But like I said, it really pissed me off originally. But the good thing, not the good thing, the silver lining or something that I really enjoyed to see was everybody come together and unite. I mean, we've had these kind of situations before, but everybody have their own perspective and point of view. But today it's like everybody was on one accord. Nobody had to have a conversation or a meeting. People started to post. Every soldier in uniform had a post with a meaningful quote. They did one biblical quote. I don't remember exactly which one, but you just see everybody kind of like fell in line together, just to show how strong we are as a collective and that we're working together, and we will prevail. That's for sure. We're not giving up, and as like our numbers are showing that, it's really making a difference. Like Ashriel said, it took off like wildfire. We found out yesterday, and within like almost 48 hours, it's become a big discussion in Israel. So hopefully within the next few weeks, we can see progress and we can help keep our people, the rest of our people here, all of our people here.
Sure, definitely. But what you feel, what you think when you heard the news?
I was disappointed, but at the same time, in a weird way, I wasn't surprised. I feel like every couple of years they come up and threaten us with Trump, and it seems to go away. But now I feel like in terms like when we look at our leadership and stuff, we don't have that level of protection and support, and we don't have like one clear figure who's in charge of this and that. And there's no clear roles defined within government. So things like this are bound to happen and even progress further than they ever would have been able to in the past, because before we had leadership figures who knew the person of contact or were already in conversation with this person about this and knew what role they were playing. Now it seems to be more like a collective group to make decisions on each thing. And with all due respect, I don't know how much experience or how much of a skill set that they have dealing with this type of thing. And there was no type of handover. So we lost key members of our leadership. There was no handover. And some of the people who are now in those roles might not be skilled enough to handle this or have the communication skills or have most of the things that that you need to handle such a complex case. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. And yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I appreciate what Ashriel said, because that was my next thing. Like, what plan of action can we do? Like, even for people who aren't actually in Israel, for members of the community or former members of the community who aren't actually in Israel, what can we do to help? How can we support? Like, are there any protests going to be planned in Israel? Are we protesting? Are we going to do any public type of protesting, anything?
Yeah, I'm not sure about protesting just yet. Like I said, I'm just trying to stay in line, in step with those who are fighting what I'm fighting for. So whatever help is needed, I'm willing to give, for my people always. I know everybody on the panel feel that way. We apologize. We were meant to be happier this week.
We went straight down, right?
A light subject for you guys.
We got them next time, though.
I mean, like you said, there are entertaining subjects and subjects that are more interesting, but this topic is important, and we have to bring light to the things that matter. No matter how uncomfortable they might be, or, it might not be entertaining, but people need to know exactly what's going on,
Yeah.
Right. Definitely.
I think it's important for people to realize that, like what Ashriel said, some of these people, Israel's the only home they know. They're trying to send them to a country where they have no roots. Like,
people haven't been there for decades in a row. Like, specifically, like I speak for my father, since he left, he hasn't been back. I know it's a few people.
Yeah,
they're sending them back to a place where they have no structures of support, no like access to finance.
Have you ever thought about the agreement that was made when we joined the military? Like, what exactly that contracted, like what exactly we had to do? What did that mean? Because technically for certain families, let's say for instance, who don't have children, or like grandchildren that are going, go to the army and serve, and then in turn can get their citizenship. What about those families? Like, were they not thought about previously before agreeing that our children are going to serve in the army? You know, I always thought about that. Like,
I think
what was
they
the
were.
real arrangement?
I think they were because most I don't want to use that term, but most communities that are living within a different society, normally in order to be accepted, they normally do the military to get citizenship, so any people who over here in the UK that come from any part of Africa, normally the first thing they do is they go to the military because that's where you can actually serve and then you're provided with some type of paperwork. So I think that was a big part of it. I don't know the ins and outs of how it was supposed to play out, but I think that was a big part of the reason why we actually began the process of going into the military.
Yeah, because it's just problematic. Because I'm thinking about it, it's almost like if you ask any person, it was, you know, okay, we're gonna decide. We decided now we're gonna start enlisting our children to serve, even though we're a peaceful community technically, and we don't believe in violence and war, to keep our status in this country. But like, what are the nicks and nacks? If I don't have any children, then what? If I came here alone, then what? If I'm over 50, then what? You know, we didn't even think. I think for us as a community, we just didn't think a few steps ahead or about everybody collectively, and not just the families who technically had teenagers that were soon to go to the army. You know, because I think those are the families that are suffering mostly now. You know, in the situation.
Yeah, it was what you said. They said somebody opened the paper and they thought it said 60 seconds. So they start panicking.
You're so stupid.
What? We can always count on you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it like...
We appreciate you.
They got crazy real quick. They started looking out the window. It got crazy, but...
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna say specific names, but just to make it a little harder, say we don't get to prolong it or pause it like we want. Leave, go somewhere else. There's family and people all over Israel. If you need to get your papers right, you need time to get money to fight it on your own or whatever you need to do.
Exactly.
Don't make it easier for them. Don't be like a sitting duck. We all down there. They're gonna come down there and round everybody up and take them out. If you have a means of getting out the city for the meantime and doing something about it, do that. Also, in situations like this, nobody wants to hear it, but money helps. So hustle up. Make sure you get to a decent lawyer. Make sure you get some more information. Be ahead of the herd as much as possible. For anybody.
But it is strength in numbers. So if they could come together as like a class action suit, it'll be much easier instead of like having individual lawsuits.
Yeah, individuals.
Yeah. I feel like a class action suit is going to take longer, but in the long run, I feel like
and whatever it is they need to do, urgency. Like, do that. Start tomorrow. Like look in and check in and call in and do all that stuff tomorrow. Like make that a priority because they're not playing over here. I know these people.
They're not.
For sure, 100%. We appreciate you guys coming out and having a listen. I don't want to hold the panel any longer and talk about something that, you know, we are trying to work and fix. I do want to say that once the links are there for the support, I will add them to the podcast on the YouTube so everyone can have the opportunity to support. And send your prayers out and check on your family members in Israel because we need you guys. This was the first interview Ashriel has probably done in English, so hopefully you guys can get a broader picture of what's being talked about in Israel. But yeah, the family there needs your love and support. And anyone else have anything to say to the listeners and the good peoples?
Be safe. Praise God, make money.
But I was saying, can you put Ashriel's Insta?
Yeah, contact information for people.
I'll definitely link all of the information there
on social media, so we'll have the links
so that we can make those connections. But thank you guys for coming out, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Stay black, stay safe. Yeah.